What's up, everybody? Christian Ballard, sports journalist here at Ballard Sports Media. Hope everyone's doing great on this day two of the NFL draft. And we got quite a bit to talk about. I got Mayhem Matthew here. We'll talk up, obviously, the Bucs. We'll talk up the Steelers, too. That's his team. Sheduer Sanders still on the board. And we'll give some bold takes and some predictions for the final rounds tomorrow. Mayhem, how's it going?
It's going good. How y'all doing?
We're great.
All right. So round two, we're gonna talk about round two and round three because that's were the two rounds that were did today. We'll do a recap of that, and then we'll get on out of here. Talk a little bit about Shador Sanders, but I want to talk about Shador Sanders last. I don't want to, talk about the main event first. People just listen to that and then and not listen to anything else. So let's talk about um obviously the first draft pick of the second round pick number 33, Carson Shwe Singer.
Sway Singer, I think.
Shwe Singer.
Yeah.
Okay, he's linebacker, and honestly, don't know too much about him. I'm gonna keep it 100% honest. Don't know too much about the guy. Uh, Browns could have went quarterback here, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the live stream. They could have went offense here, but they decided to go defense. Do you know anything about this guy?
I know he was one of the more highly rated linebackers. I think that's part of his combine performance. He ran a pretty good a 40, what I've heard. He had 4 sacks last year, showed good upside as a pass rusher. Um, he's from what I've seen from him, he can slip through defenders or the O line, I should say. Just get after the quarterback, get after you in the backfield. I think it adds really good pass rush for the Browns, which is what they need. I also like the fourth pick of the night when they went after Judkins of Ohio State to add running back um, to help out there on the offensive side. So I thought the Browns had to have been one of the winners tonight.
For sure. Up next, we have wide receiver out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins. He was the 34th pick of the second round, pick number 2 in the second round, whatever you would like to prefer. Obviously, the Texans do need some wide receivers to help out. They they have Nico Collins. So adding Jaden Higgins to help out CJ Stroud would definitely be a big pickup. Jaden Higgins was a big part of Iowa State's success, leading them to the Big 12 title game.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, I really like this pickup. What do you think?
I think it's good to get weapons. I don't know if that would have been the correct choice at wide receiver. Obviously, you see down here Luther Burden to the Bears, which is really good. Um, I feel like Luther Burden could fit in almost any offense, honestly. But Jaden Higgins is highly rated too. Um, 38th overall, third overall in the position at wide receiver. He caught 140 passes in 2 seasons for 2,100 plus yards and 15 touchdowns. Had a great workout at the combine from what I've heard. Reading some pre-draft, analysis from Steve Munich, uh, he's a reliable pass catcher and wins 50-50 balls and can be an impactful runner after the catch. Higgins is strong, his arms are long, and he elevates well. They compare him to Nico Collins, who is with the Houston Texans. So that's very interesting there. So maybe they saw something. Obviously, Nico Collins over 1,000 yards last year for the Texans, 7 touchdowns for them. One of their lead receivers probably was their lead receiver, but they needed to get help alongside him. And I would not be shocked if they came out later and said we saw something similar in this guy. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, Jaden Higgins probably was the one of the top two leading wide receivers for Iowa State. Huge loss to Iowa State, but a huge gain for the Houston Texans. So up next, we got pick number 3. Some of these we're gonna go, really fast, but we'll give everybody a chance because we do got to get through a ton of picks, round 2 and round 3. Nick Emenwari, he is a well built safety, and he is going to contribute very well in Seattle's backfield, which I think Seattle needs some really, really bad help, like right now type of help in their backfield. We always know Seattle as a defensive team. Nick Emomori can get them back to the Seattle defense that we all know them to be.
I agree. I hope that he can be that go-to guy that can help it feel like the days of old for Seattle back when they were winning a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and company. I think that what was that defensive player, Richard Sherman, and um, he's really, really good. They compare him here, Matt Miller does, to Derwin James. Uh, what I see him personally, I see him as an explosive, hard hitting defensive back, man. I think that he just has power to him, and I think that that could go a long way on the next level.
For sure. Up next, we got Quinshon Judkins. Obviously, uh, an amazing running back for Ohio State. Ohio State normally does pick up some great running backs. They also have Travion Henderson, who we are going to talk about a little bit later, not too much later, but we're going to talk about just a little bit later because he got picked a couple rounds later. But obviously, a stud in the backfield, and Cleveland Browns, they know how to draft running backs, and they got another great one. I know they had Nick Chubbs. Now they add Quinshon Judkins to their team.
Absolutely. Up next, we have Jonah Savi. I don't want to try to pronounce that. He's an offensive guard from Arizona, the 5th pick of the night, 37th overall to the Dolphins. This is a good pickup. One of the bigger, stronger guys in this offensive line class, I would say. Dolphins need protection for Tua Tagovailoa. They go get it, 6'4", 324, and he played pretty much every position outside of center at Arizona. Um, let's see, post draft. Terry and Armstead retired. I remember that. So I think I would agree what Matt Miller has to say about this. You know, with Armstead retiring, someone's got to step up. And I think the Dolphins are in a really good position to help build that offensive line. I don't think they need a quarterback. I don't think they need weapons. I think they got all that. I really do. And when I look at the Dolphins and Tua, as long as he can stay healthy, because let's just be honest, if he's healthy, he's great. But also, does even if he doesn't get hurt, he does not do the best at handling himself under pressure. This is a team that won 8 games last year. They went below 500, didn't have the best of seasons, but their losses were pretty close. Some of them, uh, they had lost 20-12, which is 8 points, 28-27, 16-10. Had some close games. Good defense, I think. Um, Tua threw for over 2,000 yards, had 19 touchdowns and a QBR of 61. So the QBR was kind of low, but whatever. They couldn't run the ball well because they don't have that grounded offensive line. They didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. They did have Tyreek Hill, but he was at 959. So, I mean, I think if they just get protection up front, I think the sky could be the limit. I think the pieces are there around Tua, but they gotta build in the trenches, and I would not be shocked if they go forward tomorrow and maybe pick up an extra tackle.
For sure. Up next, we got with a 38 pick, sixth of the second round. We got another Ohio State running back, which we just talked about the other one in Quinshon Judkins. Also, Quinshon Judkins was a former Ole Miss running back as well. But Travion Henderson, Ohio State running back, I personally would have drafted Travion Henderson ahead of Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins may be faster or whatnot, um, but Travion Henderson to me has something that maybe Quinshon Judkins don't have, and that is like the type of running back that can get you a catch out of the backfield type. Maybe Quinshon Judkins can do that too, but I feel like Travion Henderson is more suited for that style of running back where he can, you know, you, you know, uh, catch a pass out of the backfield and get you some yards. And he's also, built for tough. He's very strong. He's very muscular, and he can truck somebody too. He don't have any problem, getting getting through the holes, and he don't have any problem running you over. And if he catches that ball, that yards after catch is going to be tremendous. Would love to see a Drake May throw it to Travion Henderson and him just, you know, light it up on the football field.
I think he will, honestly. I think, the talent that he has and the explosiveness. Look, I don't think the Patriots have a bad offense or a system, a bad system. I think they're in a good position. I do think Drake May's the answer. They go in the first round, they get Will Campbell out of LSU and get a protection, and now you get him another weapon you can use in the backfield. I think this is a huge steal and a pickup for New England. With that being said, up next, one of my favorites here, Luther Burden the third, playing some ball with Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. What do you think about that? Going 39th overall.
Yeah. So I respect Luther Burden. I wish he would have came to my Georgia Bulldogs. but I know NIL was a thing, and Missouri gave him a bag that Georgia wasn't willing to do or pay. But had this been pre NIL times, Luther Burden would be a Georgia Bulldog. But that's not the point. Point is, he got drafted to the Chicago Bears. He's a great he's a great wide receiver. You know, I've been following him ever since probably his high school days, and this guy is extremely fast. He yeah his footwork is amazing. He I mean his speed, his footwork, his shiftiness is everything you need in like a slot receiver in Luther Burden.
Yeah, I like the way he can move on the football field. I think he can stretch the field very well. He's 6 foot, 206, so he's got a pretty good size on him. Um, he thing is, he's a deep threat wide receiver. He's not going to be one of those guys. I mean, he can be like if you want to throw him a quick slant over the middle or something, boom, he's got it. But if you're looking to go for a Hail Mary late in the game, game's on the line, it's tied up, or you're down four or something, and you need to go hit the end zone, Luther Burden's going to be your guy. He's going to be your guy for Caleb Williams. And overall, they just need weapons around Williams right now. And I think this is a good starting point.
Yeah, for sure. Up
Up
next, we
next,
got.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing. The Saints take a quarterback, Tyler Show from Louisville. What can you tell us about him?
Well, before we get the you know the quarterback that stole the show, um, in Tyler. But anyways, yeah, that wasn't funny. But anyways,
Nope.
so a lot of people were kind of speculating that Shador Sanders would go here. Obviously, that didn't happen. Tyler Show is the pick. Now, um, he has a great arm. He did get injured, and he had a history of getting injured, and that was a concern for some teams. But um, he still got picked up in the second round, and you know, so we'll see how he's able to shake off that injury proneness that he has. I've seen him in a couple games. He looks really good. He was able to get Louisville to a few years ago to the ACC championship. Uh, Outside of that, like he's a really good quarterback. Just to me, he's not this game changer of a quarterback that you'll see. I think he's a good backup for life in the NFL.
I think the main thing to focus on is Kellen Moore, who has worked with really good quarterbacks out there, such as Dak and Herbert and Jalen Hurts. You look at that, why can't he work with this guy? I'm not trying to compare him to the likes of those, but I will say that Kellen Moore is somewhat of a quarterback whisperer or a guru, and I think he might know what he's doing here. I think for the Saints personally, when I look at their depth at quarterback and everything, I mean, this is a team that struggled to find the go-to guy completely. They do have Spencer Rattler, They have Derek Carr, but obviously he's kind of injured right now and stuff. They need that go-to guy that can back him up, that can come in when he's not working out, when he's not healthy or anything. They just need that backup guy, and I think Tyler Show has potential, but I also think it's possible he could end up being a bust, but I don't know.
I don't think he'll be a bust. I think he'll just be one of your better backup quarterbacks. But um, they did draft him in the second round,
Yeah.
and the first 3 rounds are kind of like, okay, we're probably gonna want to start you in the future. That's probably what the Saints are probably telling Tyler is, hey, you're the future. Is whenever you get drafted in the first round, second round, and some of the third round. I mean, you're pretty much being told, hey, you have a future of being a possible starter. Um, I don't know if Tyler will ever get that opportunity, although the Saints do need a quarterback really badly. So he could get an opportunity sooner rather than later. We'll see how it all shakes out. But Tyler, so I think he's an average quarterback. I don't. I mean, he has a great. I mean, he has a great arm. Don't get me wrong. He has a great arm, great talent. Got drafted, um, but I would have never thought he would have been a second rounder. I thought maybe third or fourth rounder for this guy. But anyways, I think mainly his arm. He has a really great arm, and he can sling the ball. So that's why he's there. But anyways, up next we got. Let's kind of go and talk about some of these guys kind of fast. Don't need to spend 10 minutes on each player, but T.J. Sanders goes to the Buffalo Bills. Um, he's solid defense tackle from South Carolina. What's your thoughts?
He is a solid defensive tackle, great run defender, um, and just can get off blocks very well to get after uh, the quarterback, maybe get in the backfield, stop the run. Um, and the Bills, they traded up with Chicago to come get this guy, and when I saw that they traded, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And they made the pick. I mean, they need an anchor. You know what I'm saying, on that defensive front, and I feel like TJ Sanders could be that guy. I don't think it's a wasted trade or anything. I think we still got to wait and see. But he's built pretty solid. He's not too heavy on himself. He's 6'4", 297. I would say get in the weight room a little bit, but overall, I think it's a pretty solid pick. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's somewhat in the middle. I'll say it's solid.
All right, up next we got the 10th pick in the second round, or the 42nd pick overall. LSU tight end Mason Taylor. The Jets pick up Mason Taylor out of LSU. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen this guy play. I
Yeah,
actually like Mason Taylor.
me
Mason
too.
Taylor is awesome. Every time I see him, he looks like he's open. He's always waving his hand. Hey, quarterback, throw it at me. Like this guy is totally awesome. Whenever he blocks, it's just he has great blocking ability. He gets open whenever he needs to get open. He, you know, possible in some of them drives, he saved LSU from losing games. He was a game changer. I think that, and this is a bold take. We do bold takes on this show, and honestly, I could have seen him go in the first round over like a Colston Loveland. Or here's the bold part of it. Even a Tyler Warren. If Mason Taylor would have got picked up over Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, would not have shocked me at all. Yes, Tyler Warren is very, very good. Colston Loveland, really, really good too. Mason Taylor, he has to be considered with them two guys. I mean, he has to be in that conversation. And him going to round two with to the Jets got a steal. This is a great pickup. Also, let's just note that Mason Taylor's dad once had a brief spell with the Jets, according to Eric Edholm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Mason Taylor. I think he's a good route runner, good tight end, you know. Fun fact that it mentions is the first 100 reception and 1,000-yard tight end in LSU history. They've never had that, and they've had some pretty good tight ends and wide receivers come through. They've obviously been more historically on the defensive side more than anything else. But that is pretty interesting to hear about Mason Taylor. I do think for the Jets, it's a good fit. I think for the Jets personally, I think the goal is to build that offense no matter what. I mean, this is a 5-12 team last year. They got Justin Fields now. If he's going to be the quarterback, you got to give him weapons. Um, I yeah, build the O line just a little bit. Maybe get him another wide receiver, but tight end's a good position to tackle on day two, I think.
Yeah, they already got a pair of great wide receivers. Um, they have a great, well, I wouldn't say a great, but they got a decent offensive line that can do the job. They got, like you said, they got a quarterback now, and which I still want him on the Steelers, but that's not the point. They added Mason Taylor, and honestly, if you want to debate me and say that Tyler Warren's better than Mason Taylor, okay, fine. But Mason Taylor's better than Colson Loveland. I don't give a rat's behind what anybody says. Mason Taylor is a game changer. He changed the games. He changed the game a lot last year for LSU. Without Mason Taylor, I don't know if they win some of them games. But up next, we got Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas. He goes number 11 in the second round, 43 overall to the 49ers. Really solid defensive tackle, was able to help out Texas this past year, made it to the playoffs, did his thing, and now he's with the 49ers. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a need that they've needed. 43 overall, second round pick. Um, he's built pretty good, 6'5", 320, kind of heavy. Built well for a defensive tackle, I think, and it's really interesting because what we haven't really the last decade or so been able to say that much about a defensive tackle from Texas or Oklahoma or any Big 12 team. Now I know they're in the SEC now, but you get my point. Um, but he's been one of those solid guys that has just he when I see him play, he loves to defend the pass, especially. He loves to get after the run, stop the run game. Only had one sack last year, had two the year before, but he defended the pass 6 times last year. And I know that Texas had more than just him, but he was a key guy going into tonight's draft that was still on the board that talent wise, he's a steal, and he is a stud, and he just has that it factor. He can push through the offensive line. He's quick to get up when the ball's snapped. Doesn't waste any time. And I think if he could just, I don't know what he's got to do. I guess just put him on the field and let him do his thing, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me about the next pick, Ballard.
So the next pick was the Dallas Cowboys, 44 overall. This is Donovan Uzuruka. Uh, really good from Boston College, 7th overall in edge position, 28 overall as a prospect. He is a little undersized, but the upside to him, though, regardless of his size at 6'3", uh, he ranked second in the FBS in sacks last year, 16 and a half. He knows where to go to get the football. He can get off blocks very well. Almost makes me think of Quentin Williams, actually. Just kind of slips through the tackles a little bit, gets after the quarterback, disrupts the pass, disrupts any play, stops the run. He can do it all, and I think that's exactly what the Cowboys needed. Um, and overall, I think it's going to be a good addition in the long run.
Yeah, I think this guy's really, really fast. Can get to the quarterback. But honestly, I think he lacks in like his build. Right? He's not obviously not no Jalen Walker. Obviously not no Michael Williams. Right? Like his build isn't quite there yet, and but I do believe his speed, his effort to be able to get to the quarterback and stuff like that, his strength, and stuff like that I think is why he was able to get drafted in the second round, 44th overall pick to the Dallas Cowboys.
For sure. How about this next pick, number 45 overall, JT Tui Mullowow. That was a big recruiting name a few years ago. Ohio State picked him up, and it took a little while, a slow start, but as the years went on, as every game went on, as the weeks went on, he seemed like a guy that just got better and better and better. Um, and the Colts have needed pass rush for a long time, man. They really have. And Tui Mullowow is at 6'4", 265. I think that's perfect. I think he's really fast off the edge. I think he just loves to disrupt the pass, disrupt the run game. He's on a mission when he's on the football field to get after the football.
Yeah, maybe this is a hot take, maybe it's not a hot take, but I think JT is a better edge rusher than old Donovan, in my opinion. Not because he went to Ohio State and not because Donovan went to Boston College, has nothing to do with that. I'm just looking at the build, the two guys build. I mean, both of them are extremely strong. Both of them are extremely fast. Maybe Donovan might be a little bit faster off the edge, but JT is a force to be reckoned with, and the Colts got them a good one. I think the Colts have done really, really good with getting Tyler Warren and up until this point JT Tui Malawo.
I think so too. They might. I. They got to be top three winners of the draft so far. Now we got to see how tomorrow plays out. But so far, I like what they're doing.
Yep. Up next, we got Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah.
46th pick overall, 14th of the second round. To the Rams, Terrence Ferguson is out of Oregon, tight end. Um, now this guy has never had a 100-yard game in 53 college games, but I think he is the solid NFL prospect that you want. I don't think he's like a game changer like your boy Mason Taylor, right? But I think Terrence Ferguson is your typical NFL tight end. He's not going to win you games. He's not going to lose you games. He's just going to play his role. You're never really going to hear his name called. He's going to do exactly what he's got to do. He's not going to be, you know, nobody's going to be rushing to get his jersey number. He's not. He's not going to be anything of relevance. He's just going to be on a team in in the Rams. He's going to do his part. You're never really going to hear about him. He's never going to mess up, but he's never going to do anything that is so spectacular that you have to run to your local sports store or NFL shop and grab his jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up next, we
Yeah.
got. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a good fit. Here for the Rams who traded with Atlanta. I think it's good. He's one of those guys that was quiet early on in his career at Oregon. Um, but if you look at his numbers and yardage and everything, it literally, especially in yardage, but also his receptions, it got constantly better every single year. He went from 141 his freshman year in yards to 391 to 414 to 591. He's just slowly made those big jumps, and he's not been talked about too much in college football. Hopefully that changes in the NFL.
Up next, we got Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan, 15th in the second round, overall 47th pick. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know why he fell in the draft because of health concerns and stuff like that, but and his 40-yard dash was not the best of the best. But man, Will Johnson, a healthy Will Johnson, Arizona definitely got a steal here.
I think so. He only slid because of injury, um, which happens to a lot of guys more often than one would think. But I think Will Johnson is a powerful, lengthy corner. He he was part of the magic or whatever, um, that made Michigan, sign stealing aside, they were still a great team in 2023 when they won the title game. And I think the defense was part of it. I think Mason Graham, and I think, uh, of course, Will Johnson, who we're talking about here, I think he was a big factor of it. I like his man-to-man coverage skills. Um, I just love he's a ball hawk. He loves to go after the football, catch it, knock it down. Doesn't have too many concerns when it comes to holding penalties or anything. A few here or there, but I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue on the next level.
For sure. So up next we got um Dariante Ezery,
Mhm.
offensive tackle, Minnesota. Tell me about this guy.
6'6", 331. Didn't start playing football till his junior year of high school. Uh, Honestly, I don't know too much. I mean, I like his build, but this is a guy that I think could be solid for the Texans. Could play at right guard or left guard, wherever you want. Um, Really strong tackle. It's his arm strength and everything that I think is going to take him pretty far on this next level. And yeah, that's about all I got. I really couldn't tell you too much about him other than I like his build and I think he's going to be strong for the next level. And I think it's going to be part of what helps him have great success with the Houston Texans.
For sure. At 17, we got Demetrius Knight, linebacker out of South Carolina. South Carolina, have you noticed something so far? They've got a lot of defensive guys into the NFL.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you just how great that South Carolina defense was this past season. Demetrius Knight was also a part of that success. Very good linebacker. What's your thoughts?
Um, Nietzsche's Knight is just, fast and physical. Loves to hit, loves to play fast, get off the edge. He can play middle linebacker too. He can play middle of the field. Loves to go after the football, and I think he's ready, man. I think that the Bengals needed him, but I also think in a way he needed the Bengals, and I think it's going to be a key piece to help the other side of Joe Burrow. And when I say the other side of Joe Burrow, talk about that defense. They got to clean it up a little bit, but hopefully they can get back to the Super Bowl someday soon.
Yeah. So up next, Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Miami, gets drafted to the Seahawks. And can I make another bold claim here? Can I do that?
I guess.
I know Arroyo has had a couple of injuries in his in his tenure with Miami and stuff like that, which probably affected his draft stock. But a 100% healthy Elijah Arroyo and a 100% healthy Terrence Ferguson, I'm picking Arroyo. Guy's also a game changer. He was able to help Cam Ward last season. He has that big playmaking ability. He's fast, strong, physical. Uh, he's he is amazing to me. I really got to enjoy seeing him play. Like I said, maybe his injuries um, lowered his draft stock, but man, this guy's a stud.
Yeah, he is, and I think he can run like just great. Pass catching abilities, route running, uh, stuff like that. I think that he could get great separation off defenders. He can win the 50-50 balls. He can really do it all. Good blocking tight end too when you need him. Um, Not sure how many penalties he's had, but hopefully that won't be too much of an issue in the NFL. I do think that he needs some time to learn the system here with the Seahawks. So, but you know, give him time and he'll be all right.
For sure. Up next, we got um, Nick uh, Scorton, edge rusher. Why is this man so low, man? Why is he so
He
low?
should have been. He should have been you know, first round.
I mean, this guy's better than Donovan, and I make another bold claim: he might be just as good, if not better, than Tui Malawu.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's had any injuries or anything like that, but man, this guy at 19 has to feel like a steal to me.
Yeah. I think it's a still. I mean, look, I had him as a first round. Shoot, at one point I had him mocked to my Bucks at 19. I thought maybe we could go pass rush and get after him or something, but no, we got to take a wide receiver. When? Whatever. Anyway, Nick Scorton's a beast, and he's going to prove with the Panthers here. He's going to show a lot of guys why he shouldn't have been skipped.
Yeah. So up next, we got another edge rusher, Olu Wafemi Oledejo. Yeah,
You know,
I said that correctly. I know I did, right? Okay. Anyways, um, he's a great edge rusher. Probably, you know, I think he's accurately pinpoint second round 52 pick, number 20 in the second round. Don't know too much about him, but have seen him played, especially in that game LSU versus UCLA this past season. Got to see him play, and he's pretty good.
yeah, I think so too. This was a kind of a three-way trade here, from Pitt to Seattle, and then obviously they called up and the Titans moved up and get this guy, and um, adds good pass rush on the front for Tennessee, and I think that he's gonna show why they drafted him, why they needed him, and um, so this was huge. This was huge for the Titans. They needed help big time. They were at the bottom half, really the bottom five, in pass rush last year, and that's not good. So he's going to be really, really good. Um, hopefully for a replacement for Harold Landry. So we'll see.
All right, let's talk about your Bucks, man.
Yeah, and we won't. I don't know. Do you want to go through all these?
I was just, I was going to just we can for the rest of the second and third round we could just touch on like the big names.
Yeah. Well, this is a big name here. Uh, Benjamin Morrison is really good. He can he play good man and zone coverage. He loves to get off blocks very well. He's quick to do that. He loves to go after the football, knock it down, get after it, go catch it. Uh, we do have to be careful with him, though. According to this report, he is coming off season ending hip surgery, which is never a good sign. But yeah, I do like the pick. I think if he could just heal up from that, I think he could be a long term good replacement. We've lost guys recently, such as Carlton Davis in recent years. I think he's with the Lions now, unless they got rid of him. But we need a lockdown corner, and I think Ben Morrison can be that.
Yeah. So up next we have Well, not up next, but the next big name, Trey Harris from Ole Miss, running wide receiver. Um, they're comparing to him like a Joshua Palmer replacement. Um, I really like this pick. I think it just adds to the already really good uh, Chargers wide receiver core. Justin Herbert is great quarterback to get the ball thrown to. If you are Trey Harris, you would love to have Justin Herbert throw you the ball. Trey Harris, excellent wide receiver. Um, I think this is a match made in heaven right here.
I think so too. I think the Chargers need a good, solid, deep threat weapon, and I could see him. Um, I I could see him being a deep threat. I really could. I think the 50-50 contested balls could go his way most of the time, and I think that you're gonna actually see that. If the Chargers and Justin Herbert want to get back to trying to compete in the AFC West, which they usually always are, but if someone wants to knock the Chiefs off in this division, I think it's either going to be the Chargers or the Broncos. Um, but the Chargers definitely took a step forward to try to do that by picking up Trey Harris.
Yeah, for sure. So up next, the next biggest name, Tate Ratledge, out of Georgia. I believe he was one of the best guards for the last couple of years in the country. Like you can't name a better guard in college football than Tate Ratledge, in my opinion. Um, I think maybe his injury that he sustained earlier this college football season maybe is the reason why he had slipped in the draft. But man, 100% healthy Tate Ratledge is almost like a steal. I know I keep on saying that, but it's true for all these guys. The Lions got a steal here.
I don't know too much about him. I like his build though, 6'7", 308. I think that's pretty good. Good size. They need that, and I can't wait to see what he does.
Yep. Up next, here's it's not a really big name, but a very interesting, shocking. Lots of people had him in the first round. I had him in the first round. I believe you had him in the first round too. Mike Green.
Yes.
Tell me about him from Marshall.
So he he's just really, really good, man. Like he's fast, he's physical, he can track the ball, he can track receivers, running back, anyone in the backfield at quarterback. Uh he's just like he gives it everything he's got, man. He um you know the the physical attributes 6'3", 251, I think is somewhat of the ideal size for him. And I think that he uses his size to his advantage, that he can just make plays work on the field. And um, you know he gives a lot of good effort when he rushes, gets under the blocks, shoots his hands very well defending the run. He was a linebacker, um, so which I guess he still could be. But I really see him not so much standing in the middle of the field to get the ball if it's thrown, but getting after the quarterback to make a big play to pressure offense.
So we got two more to talk about in the second round, and then we'll just kind of talk about the bigger names in the third round, and then we'll finally talk about Shador Sanders getting left out. Um, so and what we think about that. Then we'll get on out of here.
Yeah.
Shamar Turner is another guy that I thought is a complete steal. Defensive tackle from Texas A&M. He goes 62nd overall, 30th pick in the second round to the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears definitely needed him. On the defensive line, Chicago Bears defensive line has lacked uh, within the past couple of years. Getting Shamar Turner will definitely beef up that defensive line, and I think this is a great pickup.
Yeah, I think so too. I like Shamar Turner. I almost had him in my first round. Heck, I probably did actually, but maybe that was a bit of a stretch. But I like it for the Bears. Um, they finally invested in their defensive side at 62, and this is a great pickup. Um, Shamar's fast and can locate the ball, make big plays in the backfield. You could slip past offensive linemen and blocks. He can push guys on the O line off of him. He's strong. Yeah, don't let size fool you. 6'3", 290 is not bad, but you know, he's like when you watch him, you think he's in the weight room when he's not on the football field.
Yeah. Speaking of size, let's talk about Andrew Makuba out of Texas. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought he would go much higher than the the last pick in the second round. I thought he would be a little bit higher than this, but I understand a lot of people are gonna say that his size um, is not what it should be or whatever. But I think this guy is. I think this guy's an elite talent, and yeah, you want to limit his size, you want to make fun of his size, but guess what? Andrew Makuba is going to be on the Eagles, and he's going to join the Eagles' already elite defense, and he's going to show you why he is a playmaker, and he's very competitive. Um, he's just a ball. He's a baller, and he's a straight up dog.
Yeah, I think Makuba's gonna be great on the next level. I think um, he's very fast. He yeah, he's fast, man. He can keep up with any receiver, I think, and I think that's going to be a bold statement there. But that's what we do over here. He's good there. He's good at just reading a quarterback, seeing where the ball's going to go, picking off guys. Um, 4 tackles for loss last year in 2024. He's quick downfield when he defends the run. Uh, yeah, he's really good, and with a lot of Georgia guys on defense already for uh, the Eagles, and then you also add in their first round pick, Jihad Campbell. I would expect this to be a dangerous defense next year for the defending Super Bowl champs.
For sure. So let's go on to the third round. And we're not going to talk about all these guys. We're not going to talk about most of them. We're just going to talk about a couple of them. And then we're going to get on out of here. We're going to talk about the most important one that got left out of this. And then we're going to get out of here. But Let's just talk about our picks: Caleb Johnson, Jacob Harris, and
Hmm.
then there was a couple of quarterbacks that got picking up that I want to talk about: Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
And outside of that, let me see anybody else that got picked up. Nope. Outside of that, just talk about Shador Sanders and why he didn't get picked up, and then we'll get off of here.
All right. Let's do the Bucks, the two quarterbacks, and then we'll do the Steelers. Well, we'll start with the Steelers. How about that? So tell me about Caleb Johnson.
All right, Caleb Johnson, man, was kind of a surprising pick. This is another one of those where I thought Shador Sanders was going to get picked up, and we already have. We don't. Najee Harris left the Steelers to the Chargers. Um, so we did need a running back. Caleb Johnson is like bigger and probably faster than Najee Harris. So it does feel like we did get an upgrade at the running back position. He's younger too, a younger guy. Out of Iowa. Iowa's always had a pretty good run game. Caleb Johnson, I'm not mad about this pick. I just don't know why we're not picking up like a wide receiver, or why we're not picking up a quarterback. Like, honestly, I would have loved to pick up Jalen Milroe. I'd love to pick up Dylan Gabriel. I would have
Yeah.
loved. I would have loved to pick up some of these wide receivers that have gone in the second round after after the Steelers made their pick. Um, I wouldn't have mind getting uh, Ty Felton. I wouldn't have minded getting um, Savion Williams for sure. Um, but they went with Caleb Johnson. We did need a running back. Not mad. I'm not like angry at this pick, but I felt like we could have got a running back in a later round, and we would have been good. But that's what we got. We got what we got. Caleb Johnson loved the pick. Not mad about it, but uh, just kind of like wondering. I have a feeling that from what I read earlier, that Aaron Rodgers is pretty much going to the Steelers. I would love to see like the future of the Steelers quarterback room. I don't think that future looks like Mason Rudolph. I hope not, anyways. Um, I was hoping to get something. Um, I'm gonna just say I'll say something later, but about this. But yeah, Caleb Johnson's a good pick.
Yeah.
Tell me about um. Tell me about Jacob Harris.
Mm, so he had the fourth fastest 40 for cornerbacks at the combine. He runs very, very good. Um, because he's fast, he can change direction and just play really good man-to-man coverage. I think the Bucks need that. They've lost a guy or two in like Carlton Davis or whoever in the past couple years, and they haven't been able to make up for it. I knew they were going to take a corner at some point in this draft. I had no idea it was going to be tonight, but I think the fact that they went ahead and did it and made the call, I think that's very important, and I think that it's going to go far. I hope he works out. I like his size and everything. He's a little undersized, but he's not with too much weight on him. to carry around. So, um, and I think Todd Bowles likes that on defense.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just talk about my bad. Let's just talk about some of these quarterbacks here. Talk about Jalen Milrow. He was at Alabama this past season. He gets drafted 92nd overall, 28th in the third round, um, to the Seahawks. So you know, I know you made a video earlier about this. You're really excited, and this actually came as a surprise. Uh, you know, me and you was on the phone, giving our live reactions, and like we both was like, "What, Jalen Milrow?" Like I was actually thinking like Shador Sanders is going to go here. They need a backup quarterback. Who is their backup quarterback? They need one badly. They chose Jalen Milrow. What's your thought?
It has quarterback depth, I guess. They signed Darnold to a 3-year deal, and they signed Drew Lock as a backup. It's um it's good that they're not looking for a day one quarterback in this draft right away. You can learn, you can develop Milrow, you can learn his skill set a little bit. He loves to run, and I did think he's really good at that. In a way, he is a good passer, but he's not the most accurate, especially under pressure. So I think that as long as you can work on that, I think you have a really good chance of making him be successful. Love how he's built, love his heart, love his character, and everything. I appreciate him for what he was able to do at Alabama. He did lead us to an SEC title last year or a year before in 23. So you can't say he's not a winner, right? So, I mean, just he might not have a Heisman or a championship ring. He just, come up a little bit short sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, Mac Jones is the last Alabama quarterback to have a national championship ring. So,
Yeah.
um, kind of poverty. Uh, if you ask me, all them great talented quarterbacks you've had since then. But anyways, Dylan Gabriel, man, uh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought Dylan Gabriel would be a lot higher in the draft than what he was. The Browns, also another team. So when we look at the draft, the teams that we all thought would probably pick up a quarterback at some point were the
Mhm.
Steelers. They still have not got one. The Browns, they ended up getting Dylan Gabriel here. Also, the Saints, they ended up going with Tyler Show, which we already talked about earlier. But so this is like no surprise that to me that the Browns picked up picked up a quarterback. It is a surprise that they picked up Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders, and that will lead us right into our next topic. But let's talk about Dylan Gabriel first. A lot of people are saying that shows some shades of Tua Tagovailoa.
Mhm.
Um, Hopefully he can stay more healthy than Tua, but um, yeah, but he has really done really good. This guy is another one of them quarterbacks that, if you know his story, Ballard, his whole story was he really wanted to go to the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia said that he wouldn't be able to start right away, so he went to UCF, went to Oklahoma, and then ended up in Oregon. So, like this guy wanted to go to Georgia. They told him that he would not start for a few years. He'd have to sit on the bench. This guy wanted to play day one. He bet on himself.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, I'll go to UCF. I'll show you why I'm a day one starter." He was able to start day one as a freshman. Like I said, transferred to Oklahoma, did really good there, and then transferred to Oregon, and obviously did really, really good there as well. And and then we went to the playoffs. Unfortunately, lost in the second round to Ohio State, but I think it was just Ohio State's destiny to win this year's national championship. But Dylan Gabriel to me is a solid quarterback. I liked him. I was hoping that Georgia would pick him up years ago. I've been following Dylan Gabriel ever since his high school years. This guy's just awesome and very talented. I'm not surprised that he got picked up in the third round. Obviously, I could have even seen him going in the second round. But what's your thoughts on this guy?
Yeah, I think Dylan Gabriel has a strong upside, a little bit undersized, and surely he's been doubted. A lot of quarterbacks get doubted like that, but I don't think he lets it affect him. I think on field he's pretty good under pressure, can throw the deep ball. He's very mobile. He can do his own thing. He can lead an offense on his own, I think. And I think he's going to be ready. I like it, and I think it's a good fit for Cleveland.
Okay, let's talk about the final topic. Unless you have anybody else on this list to talk about. Um, don't think so. But anyways, let's talk about the final topic. And that final topic is Shador Sanders. I need your thoughts. Why did he not get drafted?
I, s- I don't think it's his name. I don't think it's talent. I think it's just his ego. I think he's got an ego, and I feel like, maybe he gets it from Dion. I don't know, but there have been rumors that I have heard that he has said some not like really bad stuff, but it feels like it's all about him. And I feel like the NFL is teaching him that it's not all about him and that you have to play and be part of a team. And hopefully he does get drafted tomorrow, but the waiting to be drafted is hopefully taking its toll on him. That when you look at it, he'll say, okay, maybe I'm not all that.
Yeah. So, um, also there was a anonymous NFL personnel um that I guess interviewed Shador Sanders, and this is the quote I want to read. Um, the quote is the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. He's so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time. He has horrible body language. He blames his teammates. But the biggest thing is he's not that good. Now, let's break that down. Let's break that down. So, whenever he said, okay, he's so entitled, and I'm going to be honest with you, Ballard, that's what NIL, you know, that's what most players are going to look like looking forward, entitled, right? Like, give me my
Yeah,
money, right? You see that in college football now with being entitled. Hey, if you don't give me this much money, I'm gonna hit the transfer portal. Look at Nico. I'm about to leave you, right?
right.
Um, Wanted more money, ended up. Tennessee ended up firing him pretty much and said, "Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more." Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, man. I think the entitled mess. I don't. I mean, you can say he's entitled. There's a ton of other players that are entitled as well. I don't really think that that should be something that you take him out of the first and second round or the third round. Um, he takes unnecessary sacks. Now, to Sanders' credit, his offensive line hasn't been that great. He never plays on time. Well, I mean, he can't play on time if he don't have time to play, right? He
Right.
has a horrible body language, blames teammates. Okay, maybe you shouldn't blame the teammates. It says, but the biggest thing is he's just not that good. Now, Ballard, I just don't agree with that part. He is good.
Right.
Everybody had him going in the first round. Literally everybody except for me. I had him in the second round, but that's not the point.
I had him to the Giants or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody had him in the first round. Um, you don't you don't get that level of hype just because you're not that good, right?
Right.
Obviously, he is good. So I want to go ahead and say that yes, he is good.
Uh-huh.
And but I do want to say that I agree with what you said earlier. Like I think they are trying to teach him a lesson, and I think that
Still
I,
there?
yeah, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. I do think that you might be right on them trying to teach him a lesson or whatnot. But
Right.
my question to you, Ballard, is: do these NFL teams really have time to be trying to teach somebody a lesson? I mean, they are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to get their team and draft the right players. And
Right.
if they don't draft these right players, well, what ends up happening, Ballard? They get fired. Their job is on the line here, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, like, half of me wants to believe, okay, yeah, Ballard, I think you're right with them wanting to teach a lesson, but then I think about it a little bit more, and I'm like, well, I mean, they're trying to get these picks right. Their millions of dollars are on the line. Their jobs are on the line,
Right.
and I have came to the conclusion that this draft was not really quarterback heavy in the first place. And whenever you look at the quarterbacks that went ahead of Shador Sanders, you had Dylan Gabriel. I think he's better than Shador Sanders. Also, you had Cam Ward. I think he's better than Shador Sanders. Um, who else did you have? Well, I almost say Tyler Show is not better than Shador Sanders. I'm not going to say that.
Right.
Who's the other two? Jalen Milrow. I think athletically he's better than Shador Sanders, but also like that's what the NFL drafts. They draft off of potential, right? They draft like for example, a few years ago, Anthony Richardson got drafted. He did really good in the underwear Olympics, and he only had started 13 games in college in his whole life, and he got drafted in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
So they really draft off potential for guys like him and Jalen Milrow, right? Jalen Milroe, really strong, really athletic, really built for tough, really um he's got that dog in him. Like he's extremely talented. He can
Yeah.
run you over. His legs are freaking like I mean like a horse's leg. I mean, good grief. I mean, they're huge, right?
Yeah.
Um so yeah, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, um, and who's the other guy besides Tyler Show that got drafted ahead of him? Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart is better than Shador Sanders. Um, so I, other than Tyler Show, I agree with all the other college, all the other um, teams, the NFL teams that are saying, "Hey, maybe he's just not a top five quarterback in this draft," right?
Yeah.
And um, that's okay, Ballard. That's okay. I don't think we should be up in arms over this. I don't think we should be rioting over this. I don't think Ryan Clark should be coming on the internet or going on First Take tomorrow and saying that this is a race thing, right? Like I think he probably will. So I don't think this is a race thing. I don't think this is a Deion Sanders thing. I don't think, if this was a Deion Sanders thing, then why did Travis Hunter get drafted number 2 overall? He was pretty much the adopted son of Deion Sanders. He treated him like his son, and he always will. He got drafted number 2 overall. Jacksonville Jaguars even traded up to get him. So
Yeah.
no, I do not think that this is a Deion Sanders thing. I don't think it has anything to do with. There's a lot of speculation that's saying, well, he wants cameras on him at all times. He wants the social media publicity and all that stuff. Guess what, Ballard? Guess what? We live in
Yeah.
2025 where social media is a thing. And literally, like, if you would have said this maybe 10 or 15 years ago, like, okay, then sure, right? I would say sure that this might be a problem. But this is 2025 where everybody live streams everything. Literally. I mean, literally, people live stream anything, right?
Yeah.
And social media has become like a mainstay in television, in the NFL, and even in other entertainment forms of entertainment, right? So I don't think that has anything to do with it. I just think that outside of Tyler Show, because like I said, I'm gonna say it one more time. I don't think Tyler Show is better than Shador Sanders. But the other four quarterbacks that were taken ahead of him either have a much higher ceiling and potential, or that they are just better than him. Um, and I'm not saying that because I think Shador is a bad quarterback. I think he's a great quarterback, but I think the biggest thing is that this season, this particular draft season, um, there's not a whole lot of great quarterbacks like they were last year. Imagine Shador Sanders went into the NFL draft last season. Man,
Yeah.
he would have went 7th round,
For
possibly.
sure.
And I do, and this is another bull take. Call me crazy, but I am of the belief that if Shador were to hit the transfer portal, go to another team just like Cam Ward did, he went to another team. He was at Washington State. He wanted to go to NFL draft. They told him that be it wouldn't be good for him, and so he went to another team in Miami, and now he's the number 1 overall pick. I think it would benefit Shador Sanders to enter the transfer portal go get a really big NIL deal from a team making 2, 3, $4 million, whatever, from a team, and um, you know, play 1 year, get show what you got. Um, there's some teams like Tennessee currently right now, right? I don't know if Tennessee would be interested, but a team like Tennessee Volunteers that actively are looking for a quarterback, and I know that there's some rumors going around that the UCLA quarterback is going to be in the transfer portal, and Tennessee's going to pick him up. I get that, but like, find go in the portal right now, find you a great team that you could be a part of, and ball out and see what if your draft stock gets, and show people that you're you are all about business, and maybe you'll be in the first round next year. But because at this point, like, I mean, he might get drafted in the fourth round, but like, if you don't get drafted in the fourth round, like, you got to start thinking like going back to college, right? I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts?
You probably could, but you never give up until you've reached the end of the draft. If he's an undrafted free agent, I would hit the road and go back to college. But you know, I am surprised at what I've seen from this draft with all this Shador stuff. Not the biggest surprise, but a little like I didn't realize this was gonna have drama like this. Um, a first round guy going into day three still on the board. Uh, and we don't even know if he's gonna be drafted tomorrow. Like, when's the last time we saw something like this happen, dude?
I'm not sure, but you know, I'll say this: I think Shador Sanders is a really good quarterback, and I mean, I think he was a top five quarterback. I think he is probably the number five quarterback. Obviously, he was not a top five quarterback, but the only really, if you want to argue and say, well, Shador Sanders is better than Tyler Show, I'll say, okay, you might have a point there, but what about the
Yeah,
others? I will argue with you if you want to go back and forth. I'll argue back and forth that the other quarterbacks are just better than Shador Sanders. I would also say that Will Howard has potential of possibly being better than Shador Sanders. And I'm not saying that because he played for Ohio State. That has nothing to do with it. Shador Sanders balled out at Jackson State, right? And people were wanting him to win the Heisman whenever he was at Jackson State. So
yeah,
obviously, Shador Sanders is extremely talented. And I would be very excited if my Steelers picked him up in the fourth round. I would be very excited to see him go there, because I think it would be a match made in heaven. Number one, because of Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin can teach him a thing or two, and I think he can grow under Mike Tomlin, and he's already said that Mike Tomlin reminds him of a lot of his dad, and I think that he can really grow and learn and become an adult under Mike Tomlin, and really get better, and like you know maybe use Aaron Rodgers to be a mentor for Shador Sanders. And because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like Mason Rudolph. I just don't. I'd rather
right.
Shador Sanders be quarterback number two and Mason Rudolph go find him another job somewhere. Like, I don't like Mason Rudolph. I would much rather have Shador Sanders. I am hoping they pick Shador Sanders tomorrow. I have went from I've been all over the place. I have went from please do not pick Shador Sanders to now please pick Shador Sanders because I don't want Mason Rudolph for the future. I don't. I know Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be our quarterback for next season. I've already gave up on being mad about that. I don't like Aaron Rodgers either, but I do know Aaron Rodgers is a veteran of multiple years. He's a Super Bowl champion. Like he could teach Shador a thing or two. He can he can take Shador under his wing, teach him a thing or two, and Mike Tomlin can also do the same thing and be his quote unquote NFL father figure and help get him to that next level. I think is a
Right.
match made in heaven. I've thought about it. The more and more I think about it, bro, Steelers, what are you doing? Grab him. Um, and if he does go to the Steelers in the fourth round, I don't think that's terrible. I don't. I don't think this is a draft heavy quarterback. Let's go get quarterbacks. Let's get quarterback. Let's get a quarterback. I don't think that's what this draft is. So for the people who want to know why did Shador drop so low in the draft, my answer is this is not really a draft heavy with the quarterbacks. I don't think this is a quarterback draft heavy year. You know what I mean? So that's my answer. That's why I think Shador has fallen to the fourth round. It is surprising. I
Yeah.
think, you know, I thought if you would have asked me, I thought like at worst he would have been a third rounder, right? But also I was also thinking like the Steelers or the Saints or the Seahawks was going to grab him. And
Yeah.
I was wrong all three times. So hopefully I'm not wrong tomorrow. He will be picked up tomorrow. Like he's literally the face of this NFL draft. All the commercials and stuff like that show his face. Like, have you ever seen someone doing commercials for the NFL draft and not get drafted? I mean, he's going to get drafted,
Right.
but it would be absolutely insane to have him on all the NFL draft commercials, pretty much show all his highlights pretty much every 30 minutes talking about him and him not get drafted. That would be absolutely insane to me. I think if I'm a betting man, he's definitely getting drafted tomorrow, probably in the fourth round. I don't think I mean, literally, there was a thing last night that said uh, he had there was a 3% chance that he got left out of round two or three. He did get left out, so that 3% actually became 100%. But like, if that was a 3% chance, I mean, him to get left out of the whole draft has to be like a 0.1% chance, right? I mean, I would think.
I would think so.
I think
I would
he's.
think so.
I think he's either going. I think the since the Saints already picked up their quarterback, the Bears picked up their quarterback, Seahawks picked up their quarterback. The only teams I can see literally Shador going to is the Las Vegas Raiders or the Steelers. That's my prediction. Browns already
I
got
would
their
agree.
quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with those landing spots.
Yeah, them are the only two picks that I can see. If they don't pick them, then it would be one of them shocker, like maybe the Jets or something. I don't think. I think it's the Steelers or the Las Vegas Raiders. Them one of the two is going to pick him up because he does have a really good relationship with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's helped him out during whenever he was at Colorado. Brady has part ownership in the Las Vegas Raiders, so he has some type of say in this draft. I would assume.
Yeah.
So you know with his relationship with Tom Brady, I could see him going there, and with his relationship with Mike Tomlin, and just him getting developed under a veteran quarterback like um, assuming that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Steelers, I can see that as well. I can't really see any other instance where he goes to a different team and it actually makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be in the right situation. And I think the teams that need a quarterback like that or could use them obviously have bigger needs. So they've skipped on Shador, right? I think that's part of it. I won't get back into all the other stuff. Um, but yeah, I was thinking, man, like I was thinking it'd be tonight. I figured the Steelers or somebody would have got him, and they didn't. You
Yeah,
know?
some people are calling it a disgrace. Wouldn't call it a disgrace. I think that's going a little bit too far. I just think that this is literally what I think. If somebody asks me, why do you think he fell so far down? I just really think it's as simple as the quarterbacks that went ahead of him are just better. Maybe not Tyler Show, but um, and also this is not a quarterback heavy draft. It's not. It's just not. Like I think it's crazy that Will Howard is in that fell out right of the first three rounds, right? So it's just not a really good year for quarterbacks overall in this year's draft. And a lot of people were really high on Shador Sanders. And at first I wasn't, but I kept on thinking about it and thinking about it. And the more I think about it, like I really want him to my team because I think he has a lot of growth to do. And I think under the Steelers regime currently with what they have and what they're going to have, I think it's a match made in heaven. But that's pretty much my thoughts on that, man. I don't really have too many thoughts. I'm gonna pretty much be repeating myself over and over again, but um, I just want everybody to know that like I don't think this is a race thing. I don't think this is a we hate Deion Sanders thing. I don't think it's a let's teach him a lesson kid type of thing. Like let's I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think, uh you know, there might have been some bad publicity and some teams didn't want it. But then I think, I think of other picks that have been made before in recent years that
Yeah.
had bad publicity with them, and they still got drafted really high, right? So,
Oh yeah.
um, with that being said, I don't think it has anything to do with that. But guess what? The media is going to try to tell you that because that's what they want to ride with. Even though Cam Ward got drafted number one overall, and like that guy had a lot of. I mean, that guy was also what you would call entitled. I mean,
Right.
he went to Miami and chased the bag and like you know he could have went into the draft this past season and went sixth or seventh round, but he wanted to play another year in college and chase the bag, and Miami gave him millions of dollars, and he pretty much made more money in college than he would have if he would have got drafted, and I think that's it. You know, I think that if you can find an NIL deal, if you're Shador Sanders, that's going to pay you more than what a day three will pay you, then you should do that. You should definitely take that in consideration because
Right.
obviously these NFL teams are not taking you into consideration right now. So you should probably take that into consideration. Will a college team pay you $3 or $4 million that you're probably not going to get as a day three guy? I don't know. Well, you would have to make them phone calls and see. I mean, literally, Coach Prime is your dad. I don't know what the rule college. I don't think college has it really any rules NIL, but anymore. But if there are some rules, I wonder if he can give him an NIL deal to go somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just right now. We'll just stop talking because it's almost 2 in the morning my time, and I'm getting um, I'm getting silly right now. So uh,
Yeah.
with that being said, I think we're going to end it off here. We had a great stream. Shador Sanders, go try to make as much money as you can, whether that's getting another year in college or, you know, getting drafted tomorrow, first thing by my Steelers. I wish nothing but the best for Shador Sanders, and I think I think overall he's a good guy, man. I really do think he's a good guy. I think with the world the way it is, 2025, you know, want to be flashy and showboat and stuff like that, and I think that's normal in 2025. I think that's a normal thing, and I don't think Shador Sanders should be penalized for that, and I don't think he is being penalized for that. I just think that there's some quarterbacks that are better than him, and he will go in the fourth round early to my Steelers, and I will be celebrating that.
For sure, man. We'll see if he does. But he'll get drafted tomorrow. If he's an undrafted free agent, then I guess hell's gonna freeze over too,
Well,
right?
if he goes undrafted, then I will come back on here and everything I said tonight. If he goes undrafted, everything I said tonight is going to be uh, null and void. I'm gonna come on here and say everything that I said that it wasn't. I'm gonna say, oh, it's just because he's a Deion Sanders kid. I'm gonna say all that. If he goes undrafted tomorrow, everything I said tonight, oh, it's not because he's a Deion Sanders kid. Like all the stuff I said tonight, if he goes undrafted, I will say, Ballard, screw everything I said, and then I'm gonna continue to say, yeah, it's just because he's a Deion Sanders kid, and yeah, blah 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 blah. Like I'm gonna be mad because
Right.
he deserves to get drafted. He's literally, I think he's good enough to go at least second round, but obviously he didn't. He's going to go fourth round and hopefully like right now, I already told you my stance 3 or 4 times. Not going to say it again, but right now, like I stand where I stand. But if he goes undrafted, I'm just everything I said is going to be. You can just go ahead and just delete this whole stream. Well, not the whole stream, but you could just delete half of what I said about Shador Sanders and what the NFL and all that stuff. I will be super mad. I mean, because he deserves to get drafted.
Right.
But anyways, all right, Ballard, go
All right.
Dogs.
Roll Tide. Go Bucks. We'll see y'all.